round of the World Sidecar Championship. Coming to you from Germany, the third round in 2003. We've had some great action this year, and qualifying so far has been so good so far. We've got a lot of problems and a lot of things going right for the guys, and we're on the grid ready for a race. Norman Burgess.
Rob, this is going to be a real one. I mean, the problems, one of the major problems has been the truck racing, I believe.
Okay, we'll get to that later. Round 3 in Oschersleben. Silverstone only 2 weeks away, and then the quick trip to Mazzano is going to test the budgets, the trucks, and the preparation of these sidecar guys. Just running down to the grid there, you can see the helmet of Klaus Klaffenbach just taking it off there, sporting a nice goatee beard this weekend on the grid. And was that Miss Superside on the grid, Norman?
Yeah, that was Miss Superside. Was elected to position about 2 weeks ago, and yes, Klaus Klaffenbach with the goatee beard looks like he's moving into the movies as well.
Circuit length is 3.66 kilometres, and it's quite technical, this track. We will take you around it through the warm-up lap. 5-minute board goes up. Webster and Woodhead, the 2002 winners, and what a spectacular race that was. The second in a series of wins with the new GSXR 1000 motor that they are using this year, and that half the field are also using. So we'll talk about the GSXR 1000 versus the Yamaha R1 motor. As they go off the line, I think we'll see the difference. Weather today is partly cloudy. Humidity is very, very thick today, 70%. Track temperature has gone down to 27, and it's still a moderate 23 degrees. Yesterday, of course, very, very sunny, 27, 28 degrees, so most of the practice will have been done in warm conditions.
Talking about the weather, Rob, we've had thunderstorms, we've had everything before the race, and I think it's looking out through the studio window at the moment, it's looking quite good, so I think we're going to have a dry race.
Ian Guy should be down there on the grid, and I think he's got Klaus Klaffenbach with him.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm here with third place qualifier Klaus Klaffenbach. Klaus, a few problems in qualifying, but are you confident for the race? Repeat of Monza's victory last week?
Yeah, the problem wasn't really big in the practice, but yesterday in the qualifying we lose the brake. That is not so nice, but the bike is okay now, and I think we are very we can win this race again.
Good luck.
Thanks, Ian. Down going through the grid there, we saw Webster and Woodhead on pole from Steinhausen and Klaffenbach, Van Gils, Hanks and Abbott a little bit way back. Then Garros, Rocha, and running down to the back of the field. We've got a few guests on the grid today too. Fabian Foray down there just having a chat with Webster. What would the Kawasaki bloke have in common with Mr. Suzuki?
Everybody has everything in common in sidecar racing, and yeah, he'll be asking Mr. Webster a little bit of advice, and I'm sure Steve Webster will give him all the advice he needs.
Yes, running back down the grid there, we saw Andy Peach from the team Ready Mix Racing down towards the back there. First time here as a driver, was a passenger here last year and for about the last 20 years.
Yeah, I just see on the back end of the grid, Lindstrom scraped through with 600ths of a second or something from qualifying, and today he's caught the 600ths of a second up, and yes, he's thankfully qualified.
Yes, Peter and Carolina there have been to every round this year, have had some technical problems and had a few problems with setting up the machine as well. This is their first race in 2003. Good to see them sticking with the World Championship. Preparing themselves now. Just while we're there, I'd like to introduce the special guest, Michael Guy. How do you see things so far?
I think it's going to be a very good race. It's always a competitive class, and Oschersleben should bring some fantastic results.
Excellent. Well, all set for the warm-up lap now. The red flags go up at the start. Passengers run through the last things in their head. Just mounting the platform there, grabbing on with the left hand onto that handhold there that will save them through left or right hand corners, and we see the SBK direction given, and they roll away. Okay, I noticed Phil Biggs there on the back of the Houghton Fabrications outfit there, just pushing the bike off the line. Remember in Monza they had an astronomical clutch problem off the line. They got to the first chicane, came out of it, they thought the chain had broken. Were they helping, Norman?
Yes, what he was actually doing there, Phil, he was pushing the outfit along before Tom put it into gear. It just helps a little bit with the transmission. Might have had at this time that Tom Hanks has only got one engine left this week, and I'm sure Tom will be looking after it, as we'll see in the race.
Yes, only 2 laps of practice in the first session until a valve made its way into the exhaust system, not where it should have been, and yeah, probably bent itself as well. But yeah, swapped a few engines around Tom Hanks, but he was looking very good in the wet early today with a 39.
Yeah, very aggressive, Tom. Any conditions, we'll see Tom putting the action into it. What they're actually doing now, Rob, warm-up lap, they're warming the tyres up, they're warming the engines up, they're warming the drivers up, and they're warming the passengers up. Everything has got to be hot and ready to go when those lights change.
Yeah, it's running through the field there. Looks like we've got a fair field of machines that have qualified. There was one non-qualifier. Unfortunately, Richard Gatt, the British champion, had ignition problems all weekend and won't be out there. Unfortunate for him, he was looking very promising. But I think the battle will be from those top 3. Maybe Hanks will come through, but Webster, Steinhausen, Klaffenbach, I think, will be the battle.
Might I also throw another couple of names in? Abbott and Hanks. I think we'll see a lot of action from Tom Hanks. We'll see the Formula 2 styles of Tom, and we'll also see the world champion Steve Abbott. I'm sure Abbott, after severe problems in qualifying, will be there in the race.
Yes, of course, Steinhausen, this is his test track, so a lot of experience.
Yeah, lots of experience, but I think the experience needs to come in the race when you've got another 22, 23 outfits around you, all the experience and all the qualifying that you've and all the practicing that you've done all goes against the wall, and it's back to stage 1 again.
And then again, we've got Jock Skeen back in the pack there. He led this race last year, and also Bill Philp was doing very well until he caused a race stoppage, turning it on its side. So a lot of people could come through. Let's wait for that first turn. Of course, the first turn is fairly tight for these guys. On the brakes, they'll go in there 3 wide, and hopefully all of them come out of it.
Yeah, what we're looking at now is Steve Webster. He's actually slowing down, and he will roll up to the line rather steadily, rather slowly, because what he'll want to do is let the tail enders catch up to him so that he's not stood on the line, keeping the engine overheating, because other than when the actual outfit's rolling forward, there's no actual air passing through the radiator, and it does cause heating problems. But Steve Webster, wise old gentleman that he is, will wait while the rest of the field catch up, and then he's not stood on the line too long.
Yes, the last few forming up there. A few of the passengers standing up. The last time they'll get a chance to stand up for 22 laps of this Oschersleben circuit. Very, very technical, as I said before. Pushes the front. We'll see a lot of that. The flagman walks across. We'll look for the red light. Red light's on. Held for a long time. Webster got the jump, but then Klaffenbach and Steinhausen roar past him. Van Gils around the outside, and Abbott got a good start up the inside as well. Steinhausen, it looks like, into turn 1, blocking the line. Van Gils into second place. Webster, Klaffenbach, Tom Hanks and Abbott as they go through. So Steinhausen got the jump.
No, I'm surprised there. I expected Steve Webster to shoot off the line, but he was out for quite a while on the line with a slight delay from the starter.
Yes, Webster moving quickly through on Van Gils into Hasselrotter. That's a very assertive move. And Jock Skeen up there as well in the thick of things. But Steinhausen, Webster, Van Gils has a look. They move out around the bump in the circuit. Tom Hanks looking up the inside on Klaffenbach.
As usual, a bit of contact between Abbott and Tom Hanks, yes. As per 2 weeks ago, contact again.
Yes, they like getting together on and off the track, this mob. Rolling back through the pack, that's Morrissey, a great start from him in front of Galros. Rocha, who had engine troubles, might not have taken the grid, but seems like he's out there. Gottlieb, Skeen there as well. Yeah, looks fairly tight through the first half of the lap.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen Steve Webster there, but yeah, we've got him sat again, slipstreaming with Klaffenbach there, looking on the inside.
Yes, Klaffenbach in the third into the Shell S's. Good move from Klaffenbach. Set Van Gils up very, very early on that one, down the back straight, using Yamaha power over Suzuki power, and got him cleanly into the S's. Webster on Steinhausen. Last turn coming onto the straight. So that's a great move by Webster, making a fairly assertive move on the first lap. None of this hanging around.
Yeah, problem there though. Steve Webster's short his card, and he's allowing everybody else to draft him now. Webster leading at the moment.
Klaus Klaffenbach into second. Klaus Klaffenbach with a fairly standard move on Steinhausen. Steinhausen might be just taking a bit of a breather here, waiting for all the excitement to settle down. 22 laps of this very technical circuit, and it's very, very hard on tyres as well. So we'll just have to look at how those front tyres go, because on the right-hand corners, they're pushing in front for a long time. The rubber rolls across the tyre and you lose traction towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm glad you've talked about tyres there, Rob, because I've had lots and lots of comments about the way the circuit is handling. Everybody's telling us that truck racing is causing problems as they enter into the corner, which again then causes problems with the outfit. The outfit weaves, the brakes are a problem.
Yeah, Michael, what can you tell us about that?
Well, I know that Tom Hanks looks like he's pushing really, really hard. He's obviously scored no points so far and was leading at the World Championship this time last year, I believe. So he's desperate to get past Van Gils and get into that battle for the podium.
Yes, Tom Hanks, of course, last year, perfect score, 10 races, finished out of 10 races. This year, third race in, hasn't got a point, hasn't finished a race.
Had very serious engine problems. We don't really know. I've spoken to Tom on several occasions, and he really hasn't got an answer at the moment to his engine problems, but I do know he knows how to blow them up at the moment.
Yeah, it's a monumental blow-up at Monza in qualifying. But let's talk about positive things. Steve Webster out in front, Klaffenbach right behind him, 0.2 of a second. Steinhausen, 0.5 of a second. So close at the front, dropping off Van Gils a little bit, and Hanks right with him. So as I recall last year, Steve Abbott was back in the pack and then fought his way through just towards the end. Will we see that again?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is the Royal Derbyshire Fox will watch what's going on and let his tyres warm up.
Got to cut you off there, Norman Burgess, because Klaus Klaffenbach and Steve Webster are pushing each other side by side through Husseröder. Klaus is going to make a move, and he's going to make it decisively and very soon, I feel.
Wow, he's got some power out of the engine now as Klaus Klaffenbach. I don't actually know where he's getting his power from. He's actually out braking Steve Webster now, which is rather interesting that he's doing so.
Just let's look at the replay here. Klaus Klaffenbach, there's Christian Partzer way over the rear of the bike, holding on there, and on the inside of the circuit there, just a bit of a slip there and into the dirty bit on the side of the circuit. So Klaffenbach trying very, very hard. Qualifying yesterday, we saw him spin into turn 4, the long right-hander. He didn't, he just shrugged it off to me afterwards. Didn't think there was any problem, just a little spin.
George Steinhausen still watching the antics of obviously first and second place, and I think at some stage we're going to see Jorn make his move as well, especially on the test track.
It looks like they've got their pace a little bit now, and maybe Webster's starting to stretch the pack, but like you say, hopefully you can stay there and make the fight for the win.
Of course, Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson having a bit of an incident here last year, the spin and then Jörg running over Trevor and driving off without him wasn't too friendly between driver and passenger.
Oh, it looked quite amusing from up here, but I'm sure it was a severe incident.
Yes, Steiny now, big long black line out of the corner, so definitely on the power. Maybe he's just let his tyres in, but we see it as well from Webster.
Yeah, that is unusual. You'll not usually see Steve Webster leaving a big black line like that. Steve generally has the experience enough to save his tyres. Leaving black lines like that is very spectacular, but it is not saving the tyre, and we've another 18 or 19 laps to go yet.
Yes, fastest lap from Webster there.
I think tyre wear could actually be an issue here. Like you said earlier, they're pushing the front a lot and there's a lot of wear going on, especially through the right-handers.
Yes, well, a bit of news from Yokohama Tyres. There are a lot of medium fronts, medium rears being used today, but Van Gils was on a soft front. Did you talk to Malcolm before, Michael?
Yeah, I did, yeah. That's very true, and he thinks that's probably the best combination, given the reduction in track temperature.
Yes, of course, the track temperature yesterday was sort of what we'd expect at Misano or Imola, not what we expect in the centre of Germany here.
Looking now, I mean, you've got to see Steve Webster now putting a little bit of pressure on, I think, and after 4 laps, I think Steve is now putting a little bit of power on, maybe to try and shake the opposition off. I think he'll probably be realising that they're drafting him, and he's dragging them along.
Back to the battle for 4th and 5th here with Hank Hanks just feigning a move on the Van Gils father-son team. The Van Gils guys have been going so well this year, and third place at Monza, matching 2 years ago. But yeah, Hanks is going to become very aggressive in the next few laps, I feel.
Yeah, we're going to see, if we're going to see any black lines, they'll be out of Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, using his British Formula 2 experience, he throws that machine everywhere.
Yes, and he doesn't mind which wheel the black lines come from, the front, the side, the rear, it doesn't matter.
I spoke to a few people in the pits over the weekend, and the theory was that if they could run 33s, that would be the race pace. And as we can see from the current lap chart, the top three are all in the 33s and have made the break.
Yes, lap record was 2001 Webster Woodhead. That was on the 1200cc Suzuki. But another theory on the lap times is that this race is being held a lot earlier in the year. Generally, it's held later in the year when it's a little bit warmer. Ambient temperatures are up, tyres can do a bit more work, and the asphalt has a little bit of a different consistency. So maybe that has got something to do with the lap record.
And there's been a few tyre changes and width changes you were saying about earlier, Rob, with reference to the size of the front and things. Can you talk about that?
Yes, the front, the Yokohama tyres have been in development of the front tyre, moving on from the rear tyre of 5 years ago. They were heavily into that. The front tyre, now they offer a 220 wide instead of a 210 wide. And Webster thinks it's driving a dream. He came in from a race, first tested it at Valencia, and came in saying I could do another 30 laps on that. It was so easy on his arms.
Yeah, lap 5 of 22, it's Webster, Klaffenbach, Steinhausen, Van Gils, Hanks, Abbott, Skeen, Roscher, Gottlieb and Morrissey.
Yeah, so there's the top 10 running down. I don't think we've had any problems so far, which is good. But, Webster and Woodhead are on it. Out of the triple left, into turn 4, sliding the bike through that left-hander. Looks like a spin from Skeen here. Skeen and Miller just getting going again. Try and pick up where that is on the circuit, but might be a little bit difficult. So, yeah, we have had some incidents in the track. We'll see where Skeen is on the leaderboard after he crossed the line next time.
Yeah, Skeen was running in 7th place. Interesting to see how many places he loses on that spin.
Well, he had just done a quick lap for him, 37, so we'll see if that does repeat himself later in the race. Steinhausen out of control. Well, out of control for anyone else but Jörg. He's got that throttle twisted wide open, chasing Claffy. So watch Trevor on the back here. He doesn't mind anything that Jörg does, even if it flips him over the top or whatever. Gets back on, says, it was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, Trevor enjoys anything goes on in sidecar racing, and Trevor enjoys it. But I think Jörg, he's looking at Claffy, and we could see him move at any stage.
I know they're going to be pushing really hard this weekend. They've got new sponsorship from Q8, and they've got 4 of the top guys down here this weekend watching. So I spoke to Jörg earlier, and he really wants a result here this weekend.
Yes, well, after the engine problems they suffered in Valencia, they did a lot of testing in German championship rounds, just making sure the engines are right. They've changed the ducting into the airbox, and yeah, definitely going pretty quick. Not as quick as Webster and Woodhead. Fastest lap from them, a 33.1. So yeah, that's taking a little bit, about half a second out of Klaffenbach on the last lap.
Interesting to look at the monitor there. Abbott and Hanks are the first two, after Steve Webster, the first 2 Brits, and it looks like quite a battle between them, 1.1 second. Interesting to see what will go on at the end of this race.
Yes, well, I think Abbott's caught up to both Hanks and Van Gils, so probably a fair battle going on there. Actually, Hanks in front of Van Gils now, so Van Gils would have been holding everyone up. Hanks pulling away after passing Van Gils, and Abbott will be looking to do so as well. Abbott's had some trouble in qualifying, also with the setup. He was saying that there was a problem. He wanted to test it in the wet setup, but couldn't.
And Steinhausen gets in front of Klaffenbach there. That's a brave move coming onto the start-finish straight. And can he hold it down into turn 1? Klaffenbach's obviously especially good on the brakes down here. We'll see what happens.
Well, Klaffenbach has been good on the brakes, except for qualifying, the second qualifying. He actually cooked the brakes. The pedal went straight back to the floor, as they say, and he went straight on at turn 1 with no brakes at all.
Yeah, that's the build-up with temperature within the braking system. You've got to realise on such a short, twisted track that the temperatures build up, and yes, that's when the pressure is paid.
And Webster there just put in a 32.874, which is the fastest lap of the race, and in doing that has pulled a sort of a 2-second lead on Steinhausen and Klassenbach, obviously, who are dicing hard.
Oh, Steinhausen out. Steinhausen's done an engine. That's going into the triple left there. Oh, that's very, very bad for Steinhausen Hopkinson. He'd better get out of there quick too with that most likely hot oil. Very much disappointment on the face of Trevor Hopkinson there.
Yeah, good move there from York Steinhausen. As soon as he blew with the engine, probably threw a rod out. I don't actually know what happened, but it looked like there was a lot of oil about, and he pulled off the circuit as soon as he could.
Yes, professional. Let's see the replay coming through. Under power it has to be. You need the power to drive through that left-hander, and obviously when the engine brakes you have no power, and he did very, very well to stop the thing going off the track and upside down.
Yeah, and of course the other problem is oil being distributed on the track, so we'll have to watch this very carefully now. But it looks like York pulled off as soon as he possibly could, and hopefully there'll be no oil on the circuit.
Yes, well, the catch trays in these machines are very, very good now, so hopefully that has been absorbed by the absorbent material packed around the engine, and won't be a problem for anyone.
You're telling me that this isn't the first time that Sidecar engines have actually blown up, Rob?
Yes, and Ian Guy in pit lane, we'll just gloss over that. Ian Guy, Rolf Bonhurst with you in pit lane.
Yeah, hi, I'm here in pit lane with Rolf Bonhurst, the winner of the 1991 German Sidecar Grand Prix and now general manager of the Oschersleben circuit. Ralph, what do you think of the race so far today?
It's a good race. It's not so good that Steinhausen is not in. Webo is very fast in the front, but this track is very difficult for tires, so this is not the end.
Do you think that Steinhausen can be world champion again for Germany?
Yes, I think so, but this year 2-0 results, so this year not possible. But he's a really good driver, and when his bike is good, he could be world champion, definitely.
And from your time racing 10 years ago, do you see much change in the sidecar paddock now?
Yeah, it looks much better, more professional, and it looks really good, and it's a very good series.
And any chance of you returning?
I'm too old. No, maybe sometime. The times are okay. I know the circuit here, and my best time was good for the first round. So I hope maybe.
Ralph Bonhurst, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian Guy, with a special character in sidecar racing. Ralph Bonhurst, who manages everything, does a terrific job at the Oschersleben circuit.
Good scrap going on here, Rob. Steve Abbott now hunting and making a move on the Van Gils, yes. A very good technical move, drafted him and outbraked him and passed him.
Yes, turn one, always very strong for someone as good as Abbott on the brakes. And Van Gils will be, the red mist will be down in that visor. He'll be going after Abbott pretty hard. Let's see the move again on the replay. Just outbrakes him, gets inside the passenger. Jamie Biggs gets a little bit of curve action there as they go through the left-hander, but makes the move across to the right in time to keep the rear wheel down.
And he'll of course be pushing hard now to catch Hanks because he'll be desperate for a fourth position.
Okay, back with our leader Webster there. A huge gap now over Klassenbach, 9.8 seconds. Although we did see this 2 years ago from Webster until the crank spun up on the machine and Klassenbach took the win.
Yeah, Klaus took the win and he was a very happy man on that day because he knew, or he had a feeling that he was actually going to finish second. And Webster had the problem and Klaus literally stole the trophy.
As we've seen many times before, Abbott and Biggs making their way through in the back end of the race, and I think they're doing it again on Hanks here, closing the gap to 3 seconds now, down from over 4. So Abbott in 5th place has displaced Van Gils for 4th place and is now catching Hanks for 3rd place.
Yeah, brother chasing brother at this stage of the game.
And after 10 laps, Abbott, talking about it there, he's just set his personal fastest lap of the race. So a full second quicker than Hank. So he's well on the charge and up for that.
Yes, we see some different lines from Abbott there on Hanks. And Abbott, traditionally, about the halfway to 3/4 of the way through the race, will pull out the fastest lap. Hanks getting very untidy there on the throttle. Standard Hank style, I think.
Yeah, British, I've got to keep going back to the British Formula 2 driver. Tom was all action, always will be action. And yes, I would like to be paying his tyre bills, Rob.
Yes, well, that's up to the Houghton Fabrications team for that one. Phil Biggs did say to me after Monza that they've dropped a lot of weight off of the outfit. They've got a new fairing, which is much, much lighter. They've modified a lot of things on the bike, reduced the size of the radiator as well, just to drop weight because of the water that's held in the radiator as well. And they're up on top speed, they're up on acceleration, but they don't know about the tyre wear during the race.
Yeah, that's down, I've got to say, at this stage, down to Tom's riding style. Tom is all action, he's putting black lines down everywhere, and of course, there's a price to pay for that.
Yes, Phil also did comment that Tom's not the smoothest driver around, but definitely gets the job done when he needs to. Doesn't mind a bit of biff and bash. Unfortunately, it cost him the race in Valencia, but never mind.
We're going to see now Steve Abbott, the wily Derbyshire Fox, is going to be looking at Tom Hanks. There's points to be proved all over the circuit.
Okay, Ian Guy, what have you got for us?
Yeah, it was just a comment about how well Mike Roscher and Adolf Honey are doing. Before the race, they weren't sure they were going to make some start, and they had to borrow some gearbox parts off of about 3 or 4 teams to actually make the grid. So that shows the camaraderie of the Sidecar guys, and they're now going great stuff in 6th place there.
Excellent. Roscher and Honey, a new team for this year. Honey, one of the veterans of sidecar racing, and also 3rd in the championship so far. So many times has Honey been 2nd as a passenger with Klaffenbach. He was 2nd with Webster as well. He's raced with most of the top guys out there and never won the World Championship. 3rd in the championship at this point in the year with consistency, so maybe they can come through towards the end.
Yeah, just looking at this one quickly now, Rob. Abbott and Hanks now down to 0.9 of a second. But looking at it now on the monitor, he's in his slipstream, and I think we're going to see a move from Steve Abbott at any stage.
There's the Webster crew down there with Bernd Steinhausen, who is running Superside this year, and they're very close, that mob. Of course, we don't have Webster Senior up here like the last round, because unfortunately he put the mockers on Steve at Monza.
As soon as he come into the studio, he was telling us how good his son was and everything else, and then all of a sudden, the race was stopped for Steve Webster.
So we won't ask Michael Guy who he's affiliated with at this point. So anyway, back to the points. We've got Webster 133.3 on the last lap, Klaffenbach 135.1. So Webster's still pulling away. Hanks in the 34s now. He's obviously seen the threat from Abbott, who's still in the 34s. Van Gil's a little bit further back, 36, high 36s. So we'll see where Roscher is on Van Gil's as well. A couple of battles out there as well.
Yeah, loads of battles, but this is a major battle now. This is a fight for the rostrum between Hanks and Abbott, and I'm going to put my money on Steve Abbott.
Well, there's a surprise. Tom Hanks been 3rd on the podium 2 years in a row here, and Norman, you've gone for someone else. Steve Webster going through some back markers there. Not a problem for Steve. Surgical precision, I think, are the 2 words.
Yeah, 12 and a half seconds in front now. He'll be picking his places. He'll know exactly where he is. He'll know exactly how far in front he is, because Steve is a master of reading the pit board.
Yeah, Paul Wood headed with the head right down there in the passenger platform. Watch him down the straight. He knows where the arm goes over, knows where to put the head up, and watch him move across gently into the corner. Now that was just regular for Paul Woodhead, wasn't it?
Yes, it's actually with a 13 and a half second lead. That was a Sunday afternoon jump.
There's Andy Peach and Dudley Tomlinson, the 2nd of the Team Ready Mix Racing crews out there. Andy Peach, passenger last year, been going pretty well this year, learning the ropes. Dudley Tomlinson, always good for a laugh.
Yes, I'm going to say there, Steve Abbott's made a move on Tom Hanks. Abbott is now in 3rd place. It was a draft and outbreaking manoeuvre.
Yes, and a bit of excitement in the commentary box there from Norman Burgess. This is a big fight, though. Hanks having another look back on Abbott, and the flurries will be possibly getting in the way. Into Hasserota here, the long left. And Abbott should get a bit of a draft on the exit of that. Will Tom go underneath into the triple left? It'd be a brave move, can't do it. So Hanks will have to sit back and bide his time, I think, for another look back on the current world champion.
That was a very, very brave move from Steve Abbott over Tom. It was a sort of drafted out braking manoeuvre.
Here it is, under brakes. See the flames licking out of that exhaust of Steve Abbott. That's the Maxim tuned engine there with the hot exhaust there. Jamie Biggs puts the glove over, moves over, grabs the lower handhold. Jamie, one of the best passengers in the world.
He is the best passenger in the world at the moment. #1, of course, World Championship passenger. And yeah, we can see the style of Jamie. Jamie's dead relaxed. He moves everywhere that the driver demands.
And there is the teammates there. Klaus Klaffenbach just lapping his teammate. A bit of a wave as they go past from Christian Partzer. Look how low Christian gets into the passenger platform down the straight. The arm goes over, grabs a handhold, head up, kicks across. Christian Partzer also very, very relaxed at his job. Look how low he gets down around the casino complex.
Yeah, I've got to say there, Rob, you can see how there's the subtle difference between a top passenger and a passenger. You'll not see the top passenger on the straight, and you will occasionally see the helmet, maybe the shoulders of another passenger, if I can kindly say it that way.
Yes, Christian Partzer always makes it look so easy. He's relaxed, he moves very, very slowly, and that helps the suspension of the machine. Here's Gottlieb and Koloska there. They were very spectacular last year, and this is their first race this year. Valencia, they had engine troubles, and very, very spectacular team.
Billy Galros there, Billy in 8th place, in 7th place at the moment, so that's another 7 from the previous Grand Prix.
Yes, of course, Galros there, number 27. He was a long-time GP runner and was almost addicted to his two-stroke, but he's been forced to change to four-stroke, and now he's doing pretty well.
Dare I say the old man of Swedish sidecar racing?
You may dare. We'll see how that goes on in the paddock later on. Number 61 there, that's Doppler, and Skeen has recovered, number 22. Looks like Houtsey in a fair battle behind him as well. Houtsey with Ian Simons on the side, and Dan Morrissey doing very well. He's having a great year, Dan Morrissey.
Yeah, Dan's coming too. He's one of the new superstars, who's going to be one of the young guns, might we say, and he's doing very well.
Yeah, well, he's got those rock star looks, hasn't he? Okay, no comment from Norman Burgess. Jock Skeen, Neil Miller led the race last year until they had a problem with 4 laps to go. And with the startling colours and paint scheme there, they took Gregorio Lavia out last night on a taxi ride.
Michael, you haven't done have actually stuck your colours to the mast yet, so we'd like some comments on what actually your team's doing at the moment.
Yeah, they're going really well. I was talking to a few people about suspension setup round here, and the amount of curve they're actually taking is really impressive. If you look through the first chicane, they're on the other side of the curve, and there's a concrete strip there, and they're actually running across that, which is suspension being so vital here with tyre wear and also getting through these chicanes and changing direction quickly.
Excellent work. Yes, the suspension plays a vital part on these machines. Of course, the sidecar wheel has no suspension. It's bolted directly to the chassis. So therefore, an offset side wheel, front and rear with suspension that is adjustable. Side wheel doesn't do much through left-handers, does a great deal through right-handers. How do you set these things up?
Yeah, well, #1 world champion Steve Abbott, you can see him as he's going into the corners, the flames, the drama, everything coming out of the exhaust system. But yeah, that is perfectly okay. It's just where he's actually got his ignition time in for this particular race, and it looks very spectacular, but everything's okay.
Skeen moving through on Gottlieb there through the triple left. Skeen recovering from a spin early in the race and going pretty well there. Neil Miller over the side. This is through turn 4 here. Should see a bit of rubber laid. No rubber from Jock, so he's conserving his rear tyre as well. And looking to put a move on Doppler soon. Oh, a bit untidy through those S's.
Yeah, this is the wild man from Scotland, Jock Skeen. He'll put that machine through its paces. He'll put it as far as it'll possibly go, and we'll see some action from Jock. And he's finding a 10th place. I can see Jock going higher than that.
Yes, Doppler in front of him. Doppler is the man he'll be dicing with. Galros might be hard to catch, I think. We'll have a check back with Jock Skeen later on.
Steve Webster now 15 seconds in front of Klaus, with Abbott 3rd, about 1.5 seconds in front of Hanks, with the Van Gils, Rocher and Galros in 7th place, with Gottlieb, Skeen, Alzenberger.
Yes, and the podium coming up in just a few laps. Hopefully we'll get to see Miss Superside up there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, Rob. But anyway, back to sidecar racing for now. And we've still got 8 times world champion Steve Webster leading the race.
Yes, Webster, Klaffenbach, Abbott, Hanks, Van Gils, Rocher, Gauros, Doppler, Skeen, Hautzenberger rounding up the top 10.
Michael, with a 15-second lead, could you advise us as to what you would think Steve Webster will be doing at this stage of the game?
Well, you'd think he's going to be taking it a little bit easy. He's dropped into the 34s from the 33 or even the 32s earlier, so it's going to be important for him to conserve his engine because he just can't afford another DNF this weekend. He's got to take the win if he wants another World Championship to add to his 8 already.
Michael, taking it easy. He's dropped from a 33 to a 34. That sounds pretty easy to me, yeah, but Steve Webster, ex-world champion, 8 times world champion, leading from Klaus Klaffenbach and Steve Abbott with Tom Hanks and Van Gils in 5th.
Look at the action and the attitude on the Webster machine. Watch the sidecar wheel as he turns into turn 4 here. Look at the work it's doing to control the slide of the power on that. What can you say about that?
The word showboating comes into this one, Rob.
Like Jörg Steinhausen last year, where he nearly turned around backwards through that turn 4. Excellent part of the circuit.
Yeah, I think with a 15 or 16-second lead, young Mr. Webster showboating at the moment.
Yes.
Unrightly so, I might add, sir.
Well, he's done it all before, he's seen it all before, he's been in this position before and lost, so he'll be looking for that lap 22 of 22 to be coming up fairly soon.
The other thing I'd like to say that Steve Webster now, I know he's got 15 to 16-second lead, but he's now amongst the back markers. A very critical time for Steve Webster, and he'll want to get through these guys, and he'll want to be away to make sure that he can take it comfortable, save his tyres, save his engines, and he'll not be doing that while he's amongst the tail enders. So I think we'll see some spectacular Steve Webster overtaking.
Yes, well, blue flag obviously shown there, but not seen by Doppler. Big shake of the head from Paul Woodhead, and Webber's going to go round him. Oh, Doppler there, the German champions should know their racecraft a little bit better than that. I think, no, we've lost Jock Skeen out of there. And there's Gottlieb and Koloska come into the pits, and it looks like that's their race over. That's a great family team coming from near Lausitz-Ring. Of course, we don't go there anymore, but they still come to a lot of the rounds, love their racing.
Yeah, sponsored by the circuit, I believe, Rob. Lausitz-Ring Racing, I think, the name of the team is.
Yes, a couple of retirements coming in the last few laps. I think we saw Jock Skeen put his hand up there as well, so that's not good with only a couple of laps to go. So, yeah, we'll just see how we go there.
Yeah, lap 18 of 22 with Webster leading from Klaffenbach, Abbott, Hanks, Van Gils, Rocher, Gauros, Doppler, Hautzenberger and Morrissey.
OK, let's go down to pit lane. Ian Guy, what have you got?
Yeah, unfortunately, Andy Peach and Dudley Tomlinson have just retired from the race. Andy, what was the problem?
Pins and needles in my brake leg. After about 5 laps, I started to get them, and well, about lap 15, I didn't know whether I could put the brake or anything. Even if there was a brake pedal there, so I had to come in for safety reasons. But bit of a blow, but there you go.
Better luck next time.
Ian, just a quick one before you go. Pins and needles, what causes that one?
The fitment in the seat unit of the outfit, or the leathers pinching the back of the knee at sometimes. It's only got to be a millimetre out, and it can cause big problems, such as Andy suffered.
Thanks, Ian. Excellent response there, and we've seen this from so many people that getting the chassis right, getting the fairing to fit right on the chassis, and then getting the person to fit right into the bodywork is such a critical part of sidecar racing.
Just looking down the order there, that fight between Abbott and Hanks isn't over. Although Abbott got through, Hanks is really on his shirt tails, just 0.4 seconds behind, and obviously wants that podium badly.
Well, it could be 3 in a row for Hanks if he does get past 3/3 in 3 years. But I'm sure that Abbott will be looking to keep that #1 plate.
Steve Abbott will know exactly where Tom Hanks is, I'm sure, with the pitboard readings. It'll be reading +0, I think, and he'll know exactly, well, Steve Abbott, through his experience, where there he is, #1 world champion, with Tom Hanks very much in his slipstream. I don't think he's taking advantage of being behind Steve Abbott at the moment, but he's not so far out.
Yes, and there's the gap from Klaffenbach back to Abbott, and they are closing him down for second place. So, yeah, you can see Klaffenbach just coming out of the picture there. Abbott and Hanks, the battle closing up.
Maybe a problem with Claffey. I mean, Claffey's had his problems, and maybe now they can see the 2 laps to go, so anything could happen at this stage.
But Klaffenbach will have seen the 2 laps to go. The ultimate professional Klaffenbach, 2 laps to go, 6-second gap. Might as well roll off.
There was Tom Hanks again, putting the Windle chassis through his paces, sending the back end out. Tom will go for gold here. He will push Abbott all the way to the line.
Yes, I'm sure those eyes are as big as dinner plates inside the Tom Hanks helmet. Although he did just sit up there over the bump. Could be a tactic just to alleviate some of the uncomfortableness in his legs, or not.
I don't want to be scaremonger here, but just looking as Abbott and Hanks were on the screen there, it looked like there's something, maybe a lump of rubber coming from the back of Steve Abbott's back. I really don't know. Like I say, I don't want to be a scaremonger, but we'll keep our eyes on Abbott's back wheel and see if it's still holding the rubber.
OK, we'll check on that, but we'll check with Ian Guy as well. What have you got in pit lane?
Yeah, I've just spoken to Ewy Gottlieb, who retired a few moments ago, and it's actually the same problem that Andy Peaches suffered, severe cramp in his legs. So there's obviously something about this racetrack that shows up this problem more than anywhere else.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Yes, it's a very, very tight technical circuit, and the G-forces, the constant radius corners, add up the G-forces as you go round. So you're squashing parts of your leg against bits of chassis that don't move, and lap after lap.
Tom Hanks again looking on the inside of Steve Abbott. Again, I saw something come from the back wheel of Abbott. I'm not being a scaremonger, but I've got to watch everything about this one.
Yes, the rubber does build up from these tyres, and especially out under the front wheel. You can see it on the track there. That's come off of the front wheel. It builds up behind on the chassis. Then at certain stages it gets heavy enough and just falls onto the track. So hopefully that's what it was.
Michael, can you read the body language of Tom Hanks at this stage?
He's trying for sure, and they're also in back markers now, so he's going to be really trying to make the most of that and yeah, get that position. He'll be fighting hard.
Yeah, but Webster and Woodhead here have had a dominant race. Just a picture-perfect race for Webster. They've been doing everything in their power to get in front, and then once there, slowed the engine down. What do you say, Norman?
Steve Webster now on the last lap, and I think we're going to see Steve Webster again do a little bit of showboating here. We'll see 1 or 2 little black lines that he's going to leave. He knows now that he's won the race.
Yes, well, last corner, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead coming down to take the flag. Here they are, Suzuki Castrol machine, hand out of the chassis. Great win for Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead.
Very dominant race from Steve Webster there. Looking at Klaus Klaffenbach coming over in second position. Quite a while off yet, so 13 seconds in front of Steve Webster, in front of 4 seconds in front of Abbott.
So Klaffenbach second across the line. Abbott and Hanks both caught up in traffic there on the last lap. Yeah, traffic is a big problem, and also a bit of an incident after the line there. Chris Bounds, I think, has accidentally knocked onto Tom Hanks after the line. So a lot of traffic over the line for second, third and fourth place.
Yeah, we actually missed the last lap there. Lots of action, and yeah, he'll thank him for that, I'm sure.
So what a race, a lot of excitement there. Webster, Klaffenbach, Abbott and Hanks we've talked about. Van Gils, Martin and Tony across the line for 5th place. And then Rocher, number 55 there. Mike Rocher and Adolf Hani, Gauros, Hautzenberger, Philp, Doppler, Founds, Morrissey, the French team of Menge coming across there, and Barry Fleury in 4th place with Jane. And the Lindstroms coming across the line, 15th place.
Yeah, with Jörg Steinhausen in 18th place.
Yes, well, that won't occur on the official results. Steinhausen now with that engine problem. But here we go, the race winners waving to the crowd. A lot of Germany knows these guys. They come up to him in the pits, asking him to sign autographs. Steve Webster inundated by the fans after every track session.
Yes, Steve Webster, 8-time world champion, and yes, he was a very dominant race there from Steve Webster. I think he knew exactly where he was all the way through the race, and yeah, he rode accordingly.
Bit of a chat there between the two of them. Of course, Woody having to climb right over the chassis to chat to Steve. Not normally something you see between a driver and a passenger.
No, you would think at this stage of the game they would now have radio contact between the two, but I don't suppose during a race they'd have much to say between one another.
Well, normally it's just using that mental telepathy that gets developed between the rider and the passenger. So the standings after the third round, Klaffenbach and Partzer, they had a 41-point lead going in. Now it's back to 11 points over Webster and Woodhead on 50 with their 2 wins. World champion Abbott and Biggs, the Yamaha, 38 points. Rocha was in third. He's just dropped down to 4th, but hasn't placed too highly yet, but still 4th in the championship with consistent results. He'll be very happy. And Van Gils also down there. Consistency is the key in this championship, because the top runners can have problems. They miss a race and suddenly drop down the points.
Good to see in 8th place Dan Morrissey, one of the young guns. So Dan's showing very well this season.
Yes, he finished 12th in the race, but 8th so far. That's he's going to be a top 10 runner.
This is one of the things that annoys me, Rob. Steve Webster come in after winning a very hard race, I'm sure. Will lift his helmet off, and he won't even look as though he's been out and done anything. So cool and so calm and so collected.
Yes, and Paul Woodhead there, he'll have a big smile on his face. Back to winning again for him. Yeah, the big smile comes up eventually.
Yeah, look at that there, Rob. Not a drop of sweat on the man's head.
Jamie Biggs, yeah, keeping the helmet on for the time being. Probably not too bad for the folks at home. And Steve Abbott, worthy 3rd place getters.
Yeah, he had to fight for the 3rd place with Tom Hanks chasing him right to the end of the race.
And there's Klaus. The helmet comes off. That stylish new goatee beard that we've seen. Yeah, maybe that's got something to do with his World Supersport commitments.
Yeah, what's all about, Mike?
Yeah, he's running a very successful team in World Supersport with new man Sebastian Champontier and also Robert Ulm, the Austrian. But they've really hit in some form recently, and like you say, I think it's taken up a lot of his time, but then he's still leading the World Championship, so smiles all round.
Actually, I was on about the goatee beard, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have the race results. Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead with the Suzuki, that's the GSXR 1000, beating the Yamaha of Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer. 13 seconds in the end, that's a fair gap. Then 3rd place, Abbott and Biggs, only a second in front of Hanks and Biggs, but there was a lot of lap traffic on that last lap, which would account for that second. Van Gils, Martin and Tony having a great year, and Rocha and Harney. They borrowed bits to get in the race and finished 6th. Galros and Berglund from Sweden, another good. That's their 7th place in a row. And Houtsey and Ian Simons there, 8th place. Philp and Yendel. Bill Philps finished the race and a good position too, 9th. German champions from Austria, Doppler and Wagler in 10th place. Founds and new passenger Heidenreich, Morrissey, Menge, Fleury and Lindstrom Rydell. So that's our race. A lot of attrition with 3 or 4 laps to go, especially from physical problems. We don't normally see that.
No, what I thought I was going to see here, Rob, and obviously it's changed as the race has gone on. I thought tyre technology was going to show, and the choice of tyre was going to be decided, but Steve Webster seemed to have the right tyre and obviously the right machine.
Well, Yokohama have been doing a lot of work on these tyres. That new front tyre that they've developed seems to be the goods as well.
Yes, they've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort and a lot of money and development into this tyre, and yes, it's now paying off, especially for Steve Webster.
Of course, these tyres are handmade, each one of them, in Japan and flown over specially for each race. A lot of technology, a lot of money goes into World Sidecar racing.
Yeah, Malcolm, the Yokohama tyre man, he's confident that the new tyre is going to win the World Championship this time.
And there it is, 3rd place. Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs looking not really worse for wear and enjoying their podium. They've had so many podiums in the last couple of years. The current world champions, of course.
Yeah, Klaus Klaffenbach, Christian Army. What annoys me about these guys is that it doesn't look as though they've just done 22 laps of the circuit. It looks as though they've just wandered up from the van for a presentation.
Christian Parts are getting his money's worth there from all the contestants in the Miss Superside contest, and with a big pull of the arm there, Christian Parts are doing his job well. And the winners, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, straight to the top step of the podium for them.
I don't know how Steve Webster maintains the enthusiasm and the will to win.
Yes, Bernd Steinhausen there from Superside, presenting the trophies, and has done a lot of work in the last few rounds just to make sure that this championship is so far in front of where it was, even in Valencia.
Yeah, lots of time and effort goes in from Bernd for the promotion of Superside, and yes, lots of effort, lots of money, and lots of time.
Well, he has got a great team behind him, so we'll see more of them throughout the year on the grid, helping out in pit lane, helping out on the podium, delivering the flowers. Christian, of course, with a big smile on his face today. Another podium for him. More flowers. He does have a fair collection of them, and a few more trophies for him as well.
Webster, Woodhead,
and there it is, the winners take the trophies. Good friends, Steve Webster and Bernd Steinhausen. And there we have it, the smiles on their faces, great stuff. They're coming back, they've had a win in Valencia, an engine issue in Monza, and come back again with another win. So 3 races, 2 results, 2 wins.
Michael, this is where we get covered in champagne.
Absolutely, the best bit.
And maybe those girls haven't seen it yet, but we'll get to that. So a bit of an emotional time there for Paul Woodhead, thinking about a few things on the podium, thinking about the race.
Just a quick one here. It looks like the young ladies stood either side of the first, second and third don't actually know what's going to happen next.
So there it is, the manufacturer's national anthem for Suzuki, and the girls actually didn't know what was going on. Steve Webster has done this many, many times before in the past at the champagne, and what a shot.
Yeah, what a waste.
8 times world champion has had a few goes at the old champagne. Klaus, full of style as usual.
Looking at the Derbyshire Fox, Steve Abbott, I don't think we'll see Abbott shaking and wasting much champagne.
Yeah, usually saves a bit for the team, and they work so hard behind the scenes to get that LCR this year. Last year a Windle, they worked so hard to develop the machine, make sure the engine's right, make sure the gearing's right, tyres, brakes, make sure Steve's right.
Yeah, spend a lot of time and effort this weekend adjusting the chassis, making minor adjustments, and it only takes a minor adjustment to get it either right or wrong.
So the race, Webster got off the line but then bogged it down. A lot of smoke from Klaffenbach, and Steinhausen led into turn 1. Steinhausen quickly got overtaken by Webster, and then Klaffenbach with a bit of a battle. This is through Hasseröder, side by side onto the straight that leads to the triple left. Steinhausen blew up there, tragic for him, not very good at all. The engine let him go in a fairly spectacular way. But Klaus Klaffenbach, he's looking pretty good. There was Abbott on Van Gils. This was Abbott's charge through the field behind Tom Hanks, following him and then passing him. Klaffenbach and Parts are a long way back from Webster and Woodhead by the end of the race, but it doesn't matter because he's still leading the championship.
There we have got the Tom Hanks leading Steve out. Going to make a move in a minute.
Webster and Woodhead showing their style. There's the move from Abbott and Biggs on Hanks. And look at the flames out the exhaust of Abbott.
Yeah, pretty dramatic there, Rob, and yeah, it's only down to ignition.
Yep, and look at the busy pack that they had to charge through. There was skiing going through, recovering from a slide and a spin, and Hausenberger moving out on Gottlieb. Gottlieb obviously having the trouble with his legs. Being lapped by Steve Webster there, the race winner. And look at the slide. Oh, great stuff from Webbo.
That is Steve Webster showboating at his best.
Tough race for a few, but not for Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, waving over the line to the cheers of the team. And this is what it's all about. It's a team sport. So there we have it. The German crowd very appreciative of this sidecar race and sidecar racing in general. They always come out to see a spectacular race. Ian Guy with the top three in the interviews.
Superside World Championship 2003, reigning world champions Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs, third place here today at Oschersleben. Bad start, Steve, and then you seem to pick the pace up.
Well, not really a bad start, Ian, just a bad qualifying position. We had problems all qualifying and couldn't get the thing going right, so had to start from 6th place, and I think we were 6th for quite a bit of the race, and got going towards the end, yeah. Lucky to get some on the rostrum and get some points out of it, really.
So overall, you're quite happy with that result?
I'm happy with that result, yeah.
And Jamie, coming through from 6th place, quite a physical race, I imagine.
Yeah, we got held up, well, not so much held up, but we were behind Tom Hanks and Van Gils for a while. We seemed to get past Van Gils all right, then we had a bit of a ride with Tom. Finally got past Tom, and then it was just a straightforward run from there, yeah.
Good, so back on the rostrum again, and best luck next time, guys. Thank you. Second place, Klaus Klaffenbach, Christian Partzer. Klaus, you said before the race started that you were confident you could win the race today, and it looked like you were going to give Steve a good run in the early stages. What happened?
I don't know really. He was faster. That's the true. But when Steini passed me, he lost so much oil, so I have to go very carefully, and so the gap was really big at the end.
So you just rode for second place after you knew that you couldn't catch Steve?
Yes.
And Christian, are you happy with the result today?
Ja, natürlich bin ich happy, und der Motor von Thomas Franz, der läuft und läuft und noch dazu sehr gut, und das ist natürlich herrlich.
Christian says no, he would have been happier with a win. And finally, our winners, victorious after the disappointment at Monza last time out. Pole position, fastest lap, another win. Steve, what else was going on out there?
Yeah, it's very important for us to try and stamp our authority back again, gain a little bit more back on the championship, not let it go too far away, because Klaus and Christian had got quite a points advantage, and it was important that we tried to pull that back. So very happy with the win, and to do it like we did, it's yeah, we're very pleased with everything. New engine, new Suzuki engine's perfect, brilliant. First time we raced with it, so we're very happy. Thanks, Nick.
And Paul, we talked a lot in the commentary about the demanding nature of the track. How was it for you out there?
Yeah, I mean, Oschersleben always hard. Luckily for the last 2 years, we've got away at the front, got quite a few seconds advantage, which always helps, because then you can try and relax a little bit and take your time.
So now Steve Webster, just coming back to you, jobs on for the World Championship.
Yeah, I think that it's closed it back up again, but this stage in the in the championship, it's still early doors, and it's mainly to get the results now and then look towards the last 3-4 how the championship's lying, and everybody knows that we've had a non-finish, non-score points, and we've had a couple of wins, so we just got to keep trying to win for a few more now and keep finishing good results. But we're all the teams are doing the same thing; they're all trying to win, so it's not over yet, sure.
Well, congratulations, guys, and we look forward to seeing you at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time.
So there you have it, Steve Webster saying it all. There's a lot going on in sidecar racing. It's been a tough race today, but one non-finish, and it drops you so far back in the points. Steve Webster, Paul Woodhead, 2 wins, 1 non-finish. They're second in the championship. Klaus Klaffenbach leads the championship. He's doing great now, running 2 teams and going really well, Klaus Klaffenbach, with the Yamaha engine. Third, we've got such a host of people in the championship.
Really, with the Steve Webster win,
Okay, next round is at Silverstone in Great Britain, 2 weeks' time. We'll see you there.